66. I focus on the United States, Russia, and Israel, not to label their leaders more violent and less ethical, but to describe what most anyone elevated to unlimited, industrial, military, corrupt, anti-democratic, authoritarian, lawless, ignorant of all human respect and responsibility power is invited, indeed impelled, to do. Only your laws, one everywhere, will make citizens powerful and leaders human, all ready to snatch survival and thriving from the jaws of our terminally ill world society. Multiple NPR historians of insurgencies worldwide, and Gaza in particular, have weighed in. Most of Gaza and many tunnels have been destroyed. Around two-thirds of the dozen Hamas battalions are dead, yet major resistance throughout Gaza resurfaces, steadily killing IDF troops. Popular revolts against fully hated occupiers are rarely permanently defeated. Tens of thousands of Israeli troops must remain to crush all rights and living conditions for years to decades more, only able to limit, not stop, Hamas military resupply, with border closure way too severe to allow in the 1,000 aid trucks needed to avert permanent famine and starvation. Embattled Israeli governments most likely will keep ruling out the only solution: two independent states demilitarized below constant invasion of each other. Or more accurately, rebel assaults 1% as deadly as the permanent conquerors. The true genocide impetus, massive air attack of civilians, American weapons import, will never stop so long as our weaponeers bribe government. In fact, our government. 10,000 war theaters for 10,000 years rage because your world treaty was never thought of, much less effected. I now think and speak of lawful world peace, but only you can institute it. Hurry. Humanity is dying fast. On May 10th, 2024, the UN General Assembly voted overwhelmingly to advance the Palestinians towards full membership with statehood status. Several times during 7-month, 2,000-pound American bomb murder of 40,000 civilians, giant world majorities also demanded cessation of hostilities. 95% Israeli-American attack. Only Security Council passage, though, carries international law force. Several times it voted 15-1 for ceasefire. Naturally, the single permanent member bomb supplier's veto roared the genocide onward and upward. Finally, my superpower nation's savage power unilateral dominance got to stinking so bad worldwide that our rep dropped the veto for an abstention, allowing unanimous passage. A U.S. spokesperson lied that this Security Council ceasefire ruling, for the first time in history, was non-binding. In any case, UN war intervention never happens without an international military peacekeeping force. Not one soldier arrives over the objection of permanent council members America, Russia, France, China, or England. Unlike you other 190 powerless puppies, any one of us gets to slaughter anywhere 100 years straight. And all of you together can't stop us legally or militarily. UN law. Why? Because we five made that law for our scorched earth aggression, not any mercy or rescue for you pathetic wimps. The U.S. government confirmed that its Security Council authority to grant or deny the Palestinians UN member state status would be endlessly rejected by the United States. Surely this denial will continue while its war client's decades more crushing of Gaza continues, despite American PR lip service to the two-state solution, which don't sell and blow nearly enough bombs, baby. The formula is carved in stone. U.S. Mideast peace veto or abstention minus all peacekeeping force enforcement plus maximum explosive sale power government capture equals decades more Israel American bombing babies. His story is his future, only until pending human extinction, of course. The UN, from its inception, was designed by 190 nations for nuclear disarmament, conventional drastic shrinkage, and international peacekeeping enforcement. Sadly, outrageously, all this was 1,000% overruled by 5 nations successfully world institutionalizing savagery for sale. Dozens of small war UN military peacekeeping interventions succeeded, but only where none of the 5, accurately termed monsters, had political, military, business power of killing stakes. The UN then, in 30 million dead and 70 million wounded instances, was, is, and always will be nothing more than military dictatorship and assault by World Murder Incorporated. Shall we pin our hopes instead on democratic peace advocacy in the American nation fully behind Israeli Defense Force genocide? I have related President Biden's PR game of bomb supply pause with plenty left in Israel to kill tens of thousands more. But suddenly he's opposed by a Republican Party 100% Palestinian bomber freaks and his own Democratic Party donors, all also defining any restraint and mercy as blocking of poor Israel's right of self-defense against terrorist monsters, only accomplished by 100 apartment building or tent dwellers obliteration per megabomb blast. Excuse me, who are the gigantic terrorists here? Most Americans and voters favor murder of 100,000 Palestinians as sacred ally Israel sees fit and necessary, while 2.3 million starve. Today, Israeli assault and bombing of Rafah shuts down all South Gaza food, water, and medicine aid, exploding chronic famine ever worse, border to Gaza border. Israel's intelligent and ethical opportunity is to allow in and distribute life-saving aid from 1,500 trucks daily while slowly shooting through Hamas tunnels, constantly messaging offers for Palestinian demilitarized independence in exchange for surrender, amnesty, and release of the hostages. But no, the real goal is 50 more years of war, oppression, dictatorship, and billions more in bribes from the weapons companies. The American majority contentedly supports this savage, greedy lunacy. Why? 75 years of war propaganda bought by the weapons makers. Total war with total weapons against 100% of 100 populations is the total strategy impelled by the monstrous genocide weaponry sold worldwide every day since 1915. The prophets bribing leaders to thieve our taxes for more, and by media savaging of our every brain cell with totally glorious, patriotic, righteous, just vengeance against every hated, inferior, racially and religiously different foreign group on our master's enemy lists. Donald Trump is due to be elected by the backlash against little bunches of desperate young Palestinians yelling at 20 American universities against murder of their brethren in Gaza. What kind of criminal slime appeals against their own extermination? Of course our police dragged over 1,000 to jail for pitching tents on school lawns set aside for student rights of public demonstration. How dare they attempt democratic advocacy in the American war dictatorship? Arab terrorism, now spawning conspirators to import our own TNT and assault gun and nuclear weapons of mass destruction from 100 nations to be used against innocent American city dwellers, was deliberately inspired, stoked, and incited by Israel's 70-year brutal occupation, war on, and enslavement of Palestinians with American weapons. Also by slaughtering millions of Iraqis and Yemenis, and American weapon company fueling of 250 wars, killing over 15 million since World War II with our 50% share of murder supply. Israel's total lack of simple border sentry defense fully invited every Hamas gun truck, motorcycle, and hang glider into kibbutzes on October 7th, 2023. Bombs are us. The world burns and ends while you fiddle, Nero. Isn't it time you built a true peacekeeping UN with your world bribery ban, plus nuclear and conventional disarmament treaty, with every sword pounded into plowshares of world CO2 and water rescue? Russia's current massive weapons and ammunition advantage on the Ukrainian front brings a series of victorious advances for a couple of months until heavy American resupply could turn Zelensky's retreat into his own advances. He hopes that enough tanks, F-16s, and distance artillery will rout the Russians before next winter. Then, as I and expert military and Putin analysts describe, Vlad's conventional crushing surely explodes his nuclear destruction of Ukraine, followed by NATO invasion of Russia, which must trigger Putin's ICBM destruction of Europe and America. The counter-salvo of thousands more black stratosphere freezing of us all. My speeches demand one person's rescue, telling you what, why, how, and when. Someone destroys weapons and their world dictatorship before they kill every human on earth. Who dat? You dat. I love you. You love us all. Actively.